See, that's the thing when you haven't seen something and read something in quite a while, like years. You don't know like the order of things or the specific details or whatnot, right? You just know the rough stuff, right? The general stuff. So you're not that prepared for what's to come in that specific episode. And this is how it was for me. I do love some of the angles, but I do feel like Amati being hopelessly naive, of course, right? Knowing somebody like 3 or 4 or 5 days. And then thinking you're in love and you're gonna run away and you're gonna be her savior, right? Even though she probably didn't quite indicate that she would be interested. But laughing with somebody, being courteous to them, that's already enough to a degree, right? To give you the idea that you might have a chance. And being a traveling merchant, much like Lawrence, he probably didn't have much contact either with like the opposite gender. And obviously this is a great buzz in the guild. They're both from the same guild, so they're like, hey, they're both of us, let's bet on them. And that is a way to just make their lives a little bit more interesting while the festival is going on and everything. And they're gonna do their trade stuff. Holy shit, these eyes are so brightly blue. It's insane. And he being so honest with his knightly and the knife and the contract and whatnot. And obviously Lawrence is like, let me look at it first, like a traveling merchant would. But he's very confident. And he likes to brag in front of his like merchant buddies because that looks cool, right? And being like, of course I accept, right? Because it wouldn't look good if he didn't, right? He would not be standing. He wouldn't be coming across as, I guess, confident enough. Even though on the inside, maybe I think he's relatively confident, but on the inside there might be a little bit of, ooh, I don't, right? I don't need that necessarily, but he's taking it in stride, which obviously, I mean, the way he sees it, he and Hollow, that is just their excuse, and he can make some money off of that and gain some reputation with his fellow merchants and whatnot, and have a little bit of fun on the way. And this is how we're discussing that, and Holo is discussing it the same way. We're joking around as we always do, right? And she even remarks that when he was more unsure of himself, he was a little bit cuter, right? Because he was a little bit more controllable, because he was a little bit more, you could tease him a little bit more, right? And it's getting more difficult to get him flustered, which, yeah. I mean, what are these shots? Okay, hello? What are these shots? Stop it. But we are arguing back and forth about what would make a better impression on a potential romantic partner, right? And Holo is like, well, I would be very happy if you'd been like, I don't even need to accept this because I don't want to risk the chance of. But then he's like, yeah, but would that be the more mature thing to do? And it feels a lot like something a young person would do, right? That they would be like, no, this is an affront. Maybe not like that, but you know, it feels like something a young person would do. I reject the offer. Leave me alone. I love whatever, right? And showing that in front of her and being like that, and that this would be a young person thing to do, and they are beneath. They're right. They're that is beneath them, beneath Lawrence and Holo, because they're smart about things and they actually make use of these things because they can think rationally about these things. At least that is what is in line with the common perception of being mature. Never accept such a bond to be broken. Shameful, I cannot accept their contract. My heart would be brimming with happiness. the more manly thing to do, right? The more temperamental thing to do, right? The more passionate thing to do, the more pound your chest out. Would also make me want to barf a little. When you think about it, being both a good male and good adult may be contradicting in itself. Shut up. Shut up. You don't mean that. A good male has a childish side to him. Yes, a childish side, but they know when to be childish and they know when to actually be mature. So that doesn't contradict itself, right? A quarter is always a rectangle. Doesn't mean rectangle is always a quarter. Alright? I think you call it a quarter. Call it a cube. I mean, a cube is the 3D version of it, right? Good adult is cowardly. Yeah, in the right moments, because it's functional, right? It's the right thing to do. And we're teasing. Yeah, and she is going all out on her acting skills. And he's taken aback by that because she's so fucking good at it. A good merchant. I'm sure you will make various measures behind the scenes that he's like, you better bribe me. So I'm playing along. I mean, she doesn't mean it like that, but she's just like happy to use it to her advantage. What are these derp faces, right? Who drew that? Who drew that? Hello? Okay. I mean, it's okay. But maybe they left it and they were like, okay, I could brush this up, but this is hilarious. So... yeah. And he immediately sees he's the one who's shackled. But yeah, we have banter, we have happy times actually, right? We are using this to, we have a little bit of a oh shit, what's happening moment, but then we're like, okay, relax, this is just this guy thinking he knows what's up, and then we'll plan with hold on, we have a new scheme going on, and then we're actually relaxing, enjoying our time. The festival is happening. We're eating stuff, we're talking about, right, about Nora. If you do not get shaken, it seems as though I'm trying to draw your attention. I mean, you are, Holo. You are, right? You are. It's not as easy anymore to unnerve him, which is, that makes me extremely delighted. So much so that I'm scared of what's to come later, right? There's gonna be a revenge. So I knew she's gonna be able to think about something. Not sure what I think about this, like, a bell ringing, because I'm gonna be quite honest, there's no string attached. It looks kind of weird. You know, these are just scenes that are not that important in my opinion. And he takes her by the hand, he's very confident, he's like, come along. And we go on the balcony and have like a prime seat thanks to Amari. All of like the crows and the masks and the goat people, right? Demons maybe demons or monsters or whatever, right? Ravens with like the woman we were meeting in the last episode, and we do have, I guess that is supposed to be an oxen or something. We have horses, knights. I guess these are people. And we're having like a real play going on. And this is how like the ceremony with which we then we open the wine and we'll start to dance and go in pairs and whatnot. I don't like this dancing sequence, it's too simple, right? The way it's drawn, it's way too simple. I mean, they wouldn't have had to give it that much, but they could have just as well made it a little bit more detailed. It feels a little bit simple to me. But then they'll amend that by zooming in and being like, okay, here's the close-up. She jumps around. I really love this movement, actually. He's like on the thing, and then she's just like very fluently, boom, turns around. And we do have the point of view. And it's just them enjoying themselves, which is great, until the evening. He's just been drinking again, and he's taking care of her, which... yeah. And he gets the letter, and we talk about it for a little while, and find out that he's been really researching for her, and there's this one moment where she's like, this letter probably has additional information, and this rate we might be able to find a place faster than expected, and it's getting real for her, right? She had been, right? We've had that in episode 14, I think it was. She's had so much fun. She's had so much fun, and didn't really realize how fast the time flew. And now that it's getting closer, she's kind of split, right? She's kind of drawn back and forth between wanting to see her home, but also what it means when they arrive there, which is they don't have a reason anymore to stay together, because that was the promise. And what you see here clearly, and what you realize, is that with all her, despite all of her bravado, despite all of her confidence and life's experience, this loneliness that Holo feels is at the very core of her insecurities and of her worries, right? She is afraid to be alone, and even if she meets people that she used to know, right, other wolves, even then there's this dreadful thing that is them splitting ways and possibly never meeting again. And even if it's unrealistic, right, because she knows that Lawrence wouldn't just be like, all right, see ya, toodles, I'm out. Even then, it's still deeply, deeply disturbing for her. Because she's made these experiences over and over, even though maybe in all of these cases it wasn't the people just getting the hell out, but the people more dying, right, of old age or of sickness or whatever, or traveling somewhere else, and then them never meeting up again because, right, life circumstances got in the way and never found each other again. Stuff like that. And she's made these experiences in the past. And she's experienced loneliness, and that is what she's afraid of more than anything. Interesting for me is that for Lawrence, this could also mean something very, very disconcerting, right? Something very worrying. It doesn't, but it could very well, technically, right? When he's realizing, hey, she's clinging to me because she's very lonely. Would anybody do, right? Would she be fine with anybody as long as he would give her comfort and kind of have fun hanging around with her, right? Would that be the requirement? And then the question is, maybe she doesn't like me for me, but just because I gave her the relief out of that loneliness. Now, from the outside, obviously, we can see that's not the case. From the outside, we can see how deep their connection is already after such a short time, especially for her, such a short time. So we can see that, but when you're in the moment, when you're in the emotion, when you're involved personally, when you don't have that distance to kind of just look down on it and say, yeah, this is how it is, it can be very scary. But that's not what Lawrence's concern is here. He's going out, he's going to find out more, and he's like, he gave her a little bit comfort, right? He came halfway and said, you know what, right? You can go maybe if we search around for 6 months, we're probably gonna find it. So he's giving her, yeah, this is still a little bit off, right? Don't worry about it. We're still gonna spend time, without actually saying it, because actually saying it and pointing it out would put her on the spot and make her feel weak. So we're saying it without actually directly saying it, if we can help it. And here we're scheming a little bit, right? We want to get in on that pyrite scheme, and we see like the mercantile stuff of the world. And you do see, even before the stock market existed, there was stuff like that. People buying on emotion, on superstition, on all kinds of shit happening, and they're being like, "Oh, this is right." And then the back then the women, right, asking their husbands or their like the potential admirers or whatever, well, can you buy me that? Right? Show what you're capable of, that you can provide and whatnot. And right, they want it, and the merchants are like, I'll pay you anything, right? And if it's getting less and less, right, supply and demand, it's getting higher and higher in price. So whoever has the most of it and holds it, if people buy it for the right price, you can let it go and make a fortune with it after having bought it for almost nothing. Love that focus shot. And we have like women and couples going by while he's explaining that. Very good visually, like visual support for what he's saying, what he's explaining right here. And he's coming back to a closed window, mind you. He's coming back to a closed window. And Holo being distraught, which, I mean, this is the heaviest episode. We're coming in from like being elated and making plans and being like, and as soon as he sees the letter opened and realizes she actually was able to read it, he assumed, right, because he already knew part of the story, so he assumed there might be bad news in there, especially how she's looking. And this is like something that will put you into despair. You had a goal all this time, right? What's holding us together, but also beyond that, the thing I wanted to do, seeing my hometown, seeing the region I was, right, I came from. If it was all destroyed, if it's no more, all of these happy memories gone, all of the buildings, all of, right, the ancestors of the people who you used to know, maybe, all of that is gone, maybe even the wolves. Especially if you believed out those legends and whatnot. Lawrence wants to calm her down, but he reveals something in there, which is that he already knew part of that. And that he kept that from her. And this is when she goes into despair, because she feels absolutely, right, absolutely destroyed by that. Right? Sad beyond belief. Doesn't know what to do. She doesn't have a direction in life. Right? There's options. Right? We've been traveling together and all of that, but that's not, right? That's not something that is concrete, that we've formulated out, that we've agreed upon and all of that. And then she goes into a mode that I do feel like she often goes into, when it's like, when she's making fun of him and she's not being serious, but this time it's serious for her, right? Because she feel, right, I mean, there's an easy path from one negative emotion to jump to the other, and this is she feels incredibly weak and vulnerable right now. She feels like by keeping that away from her, the way she explains it to herself, and maybe even just in emotion, because she doesn't mean it like that, I think. But she feels so weak and vulnerable and betrayed that in that moment she projects that onto him and says, it must have been great to take care of somebody who, right, who's so weak and reliant on you. And keep that from her, and then, right, hope that you get something from that. You like defenseless or I don't know what she said, like little lambs, right? Like Nora. This close-up shot of his eyes. And she's getting malicious because she does have no place to go for this frustration, right? For this pain. And as such, she lashes out. After all, you love pathetic and weak little lambs. What do you think of me who wants to return home that had long since disappeared? Was I foolishly cute? Pathetically adorable? Is that not why you allowed me to be selfish and treated me so kindly? Right? Because I like it if I take care of somebody who I feel is weaker than me, right? It doesn't mean that, and doesn't fit one-to-one. It actually doesn't fit one-to-one. She's very dominant in her relationships and all of that, normally. So it doesn't fit to be like weak little lamb, whatever, even if he knew that about her, right? Even if he knew that about her. She just didn't know, and she wasn't in that weak state, so. It doesn't make complete sense, but through her emotion, it does. And we get to a point where we feel like maybe, when she's like, once again, I'm alone, what should I do and whatnot, and he's like, you're not alone, right? But she doesn't know what this is, and we haven't defined it yet. She has told herself, right, or partially acknowledged herself she's lovesick. He hasn't said anything in that regard and has been terribly dense, right? Or at the very least, maybe not dense, maybe more careful, I think, right? He doesn't have the self-confidence as a man. As a trader he does, but as a man he doesn't have the self-confidence to say, yeah, this is definitely her being interested in me, in love with me, stuff like that, right? He doesn't have that confidence. What am I to you? And he stops at that for a second, thinking about it. Because we had so many interactions with teasing and other stuff and whatnot going on. And obviously it's embarrassing a little bit, right? Especially for a young man, right? First time in love, maybe. It's embarrassing to say it, to step over that. And I'm sure he would have, right? After some soul searching and maybe being like, I want to make sure that it's actually, right, that, or I want to go, right, I want to search within myself and see that it is actually that. I don't want to say it and then hurt somebody down the line. He's a very careful person. But this is like enough confirmation for her to be like, holy shit, right? This is not guaranteed. I thought we were, right? Maybe I made myself, like I made the illusion. And then we have that vulnerability that she feels right now, and it catches over, right? And I was so sure of a couple of things, and not even that I can be sure of. I was so sure my home existed and I could go there, whatever. I was making my way there. I was so sure he really likes me, right? I love how they did a very good job on like the facial expressions on her. And she's despairing, she doesn't want to be alone. And she grabs onto something that people do grab onto a lot when they feel alone and desperate and sad, right? Emotionally vulnerable. We want to be comforted by somebody, right? We want to feel loved, want to feel appreciated, and right, this is why she suggests that. But he rightfully so has that facial expression. He's like, I don't want to use her, right? I don't want to use that moment of weakness that she has. Also, I thought the window was open. It's not. I'm alone, but if I have a child, there will be two of us, right? I find it very interesting, the way she expresses that, and maybe it's the translation, but I think I remember something similar when I read it. She's only thinking of herself and a child. She doesn't include him in there. She didn't say there would be three of us, right? She's thinking long term, right? You will die at some point, but the child will be there, right? And that's a nice thought, but not in the way you express that. But the sad thing is Lawrence doesn't even peek that, right? He doesn't even have any bad emotional reaction to that. He's like, stop talking like that. Like, just stop being so desperate. It's gonna be fine, right? He wants to calm her down, but this is a rejection for her. You're good-natured. I did not place any hope in you. And she doesn't think that he He rejects her because he just was using her and whatever. But she's like, I can't expect from you to take advantage of my vulnerability, which is the thing I, at the moment, kind of, at least in this emotional moment, desire. Because you're too much of a gentleman, right? Right? This is not what you would do. And she's bringing this forth, right? There's somebody else who would probably gladly do that. Not because he's like a scoundrel, but because he's naive, right? And believes in, right, love and all of these ideas, right? Pure knightliness, and would probably not be emotionally mature enough to realize that he would be taking advantage of her in that situation, especially not knowing her situation exactly. Beautifully drawn here. This is why you never flustered from the start. You thought 1,000 silver coins would be worth the loss, did you not? She's very, right? She's being very, very unfair to him here because this is hurting him deeply. Both things, right? Not just that she's throwing all of these accusations onto him that are not true, right? That maybe there are grains of truth in her, like the stuff with lambs and Nora and whatnot, right? To a degree. But all of these things are not really true. But also seeing her in despair, that is also very hurtful for him. And not being able to do anything, right? Trying to comfort and being, like, met with this rejection and aggression and whatnot. I do wonder, like, yeah, I don't know. I think the window wasn't open, so I was wrong on that. But he's despairing as well. And this came as a shock, right? He went in with, like, into the room with, like, good mood and whatever, and then this disaster happens. Yeah. Yeah, that was a little bit of a longer discussion. I hope you enjoyed that. This was Spice and Wolf episode 17. What a twist, right? What a twist. We do have a big divide between our two. I don't know. I mean, obviously you can see that she's doing that out of a state of emotional vulnerability, but we don't know what's happening, right? What's going to happen? How long will she be in that state, right? Of grief, of frustration, of desperation, of loneliness. And what will she do? And this is what Lawrence finds himself in, right? He judged the situation wrongly, and he lacked confidence with women before that. And now he's been in a situation where he thought, right, we're good, right? We understand each other, we like traveling together, whatnot. And she's asking of him things that he doesn't want to commit to, not because he doesn't like her, but because he doesn't want to use her, take advantage of her and all of that. And also maybe because he's not all that confident about it, right? And then he gets all of these things thrown at him. And he realizes maybe the thing, all of that is not as sure after all, right? Maybe this was the moment where I fucked up, right? I did say the wrong thing, I did do the wrong things. And maybe through my own fault, partially, right? And through that situation that Hola is in right now, she might be doing something that makes me, in the end, lose her, right? And this is the situation he's in. He can't do anything for her. And her throwing that thing with Amadi on his head, it shocked him too, right? Because that is just digging at the foundations of their relationship. The relationship of trust and all of these other things, right? Maybe this guy can give me what you can't, right? What I need right now. Yeah, a very, very emotional episode, for sure. We're gonna be watching episode 19 soon. I hope I'll see you there. And yeah, goodbye.